Hello students, today we'll continue with the next chapter of microeconomics. Welcome students, today we will be discussing on economic systems. According to Professor Lukes, an economic system consists of those institutions which are given people or nation or a group of nations have chosen or accepted as the means through which their resources are utilized for the satisfaction of human wants. This definition helps us to identify certain features of an economic system which will enable us to understand fully and clearly the meaning of an economic system. Economic system deals with individuals and explains how individuals are engaged in the production for the satisfaction of their wants. Thus, an economic system is a group of people. An economic system exists due to the basic fact that the resources are scarce, with which the goods and services can be produced. An economic system is concerned with the organization of production and also with the consumption. If there is no one to consume, then why will production take place? Thus, economic systems is an organization for the process of consumption. Economic institutions relate to all those organizations which help in providing a flow of goods and services to the people. The set of institutions that characterizes an economy is known as an economic system. Economic systems are not static but dynamic. They keep on changing and may be destroyed, replaced, modified, and remodified by the members of the society in the capacity of producers, financiers, trade unionists, etc. An economic system is a coordinated system having harmony, uniformity, and homogeneity among various units comprising it. Since time immemorial, many economic systems have emerged on the basis of the changes that have taken place in the ownership of means of production and the organization of production. In the historical order, before capitalism, slavery system and feudalism were prevalent. During 18th century, industrial revolution took place in England, as a result of which the use of capital increased considerably. Therefore, the capitalism system emerged. After the Great Revolution in 1917 in Russia, socialism emerged as another economic system. Pure socialism and pure capitalism are the two extreme economic systems which are rarely present in the world. In real life, we find mixed economy, which is a blended form of capitalism and socialism. Let us now discuss the different types of economic systems in detail. A capitalist economy is that economy where all the three central problems, namely what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, are solved by private individuals and institutions. In words of Professor Lukes, capitalism is a system of economic organization featured by the private ownership and the use of private profit of man-made and nature-made capital. In the operation of this type of economy, the interference of the state is negligible. Property is owned privately and all economic activities are guided by the desire for profit. It is also known as free market economy and laissez-faire economy. This kind of economy emerged out of the Industrial Revolution of England during 1760 to 1820. The industrialization and economic development of UK, USA, and other Western countries of the world have taken place under the conditions of capitalism. Let us now discuss the essential characteristics of a capitalist economy. Individuals are free to enjoy the property in any manner that they like, and this is applicable for production goods also, like land, capital, equipments, machinery, etc. Every individual has a right to acquire private property, to keep it, and after his death to pass it on to his heirs. This creates inequalities in the distribution of income and wealth, but this right is restricted. For example, a person may be forbidden to produce dangerous goods or to run a gambling house, etc. Even under capitalism, the government owns a lot of property in the form of roads, railways, dams, etc. Every individual has a right to pass his property on to his legal heirs after his death. This acts as a powerful incentive for savings and capital formation. The very basis of capitalism is supported by this right of inheritance. Every individual is free to take up any occupation that he likes or start any business he likes and to enter into contracts or agreements with his fellow citizens in a manner most profitable to them. However, in reality, there is no absolute freedom in these respects. Family influences, resources of an individual, prejudices, and other social restrictions stand in the way of a person choosing the occupation that he likes. In a capitalist economy, markets are completely free. That is, there is no monopoly and imperfections which may stop other firms to enter the market and start production. Consumers are free to buy goods according to their choice, and the labor market is also free. Under capitalism, all economic activities are guided by the sole objective of profit motive. Every producer aims to maximize his profits by producing those goods whose price is maximum and the cost is minimum. Hence, what to produce and how to produce is determined by individual profit rather than social benefit. Price mechanism is the price which equates the demand and supply of commodities and factors of production. For example, if supply is short, then the price rises. As a result of rise in prices, the demand comes down and price also comes down. In this way, both the excess supply or excess demand is taken off from the market. The society under capitalism stands divided into two classes, the haves and have-nots. According to Marx, this conflict is inherent in the capitalist economy and cannot be avoided. Conflict between labor and capital is going on in all capitalistic countries, and there seems to be no near solution to this problem. The producers compete with one another to get the consumer's choice or in selling the commodity as much as they can through advertisement. They may cut the price or improve the quality of the product or offer other incentives. Similarly, there is competition among the workers for jobs, but they also combine in trade unions to fight the capitalists. The producers also form associations to safeguard their interests. Thus, under capitalism, combination and competition go side by side. Under capitalism, the government interference in the economic activities is least. The producers and consumers are free to take independent decisions. However, modern capitalist economies are not totally free from government interference. A capitalist economy has survived and existed in many countries of the world since a long due to its many advantages. Capitalism does not require any central directing authority for its functioning. The central problems of the economy, namely what to produce and in what quantity, how to produce and for whom to produce, are solved with the help of price mechanism, which is automatic. Under capitalism, the entrepreneurs are induced to work hard and work more efficiently to earn higher profits. The hard-working and more efficient laborers get higher wages, which acts as an incentive for the others also. In this way, the total output of the country increases. Under capitalism, the income increases as a result that there are more savings. Profit motive provides incentive for higher investment, which results in higher rate of economic growth. Thus, higher rate of capital formation takes place in a capitalist economy. Every person works according to his interest under capitalist economy and therefore uses the resources in the optimum manner. Mutual competition also leads to optimum resource utilization. In a capitalist economy, every producer tries to reduce his cost and maximize the output. This leads to competition among them. The desire to survive and earn higher profits has led to the development of new and improved techniques of production. In a capitalist economy, production can be carried out on a large scale, providing many economies of scale. As a result of industrialization and technological advancement, production increases considerably and increases the incomes of the people. Thus, the improvement in the standard of living takes place at a very fast rate. Capitalism has been criticized by economists and philosophers on many grounds. In capitalist economies, a very small section of people owns and controls a considerable part of national product and wealth. As a result of this, one can witness affluence along with acute poverty, multi-storied buildings along with slums, etc. Extreme inequalities are undesirable from moral, economic, social and political point of view. In capitalist economies, every producer tries to increase his production to earn more profits. This may result in overproduction of some goods and underproduction of others. Producers even go in for excessive advertisements to push up their sales. At times, a situation may arise when there are many production units engaged in production of the same commodity. Cutthroat competition does not confer any corresponding social benefit, though it may be advantageous to the firm concerned. In a capitalist economy, instability exists due to the operation of different phases of trade cycles. Production decisions are in the hands of producers, hence there is always a possibility of overproduction or underproduction. Boom periods are followed by depressions. Boom leads to inflation, whereas depression results in unemployment. Early phase of capitalist economy was associated with a number of small competitive firms. But with the turn of the present century, the monopoly stage of capitalism gave rise to the emergence of big firms. These big firms exploit the consumers by charging higher prices and restricting the output. They also control the market on account of huge resources that they command, and small producers are squeezed out. The big businesses control many types of businesses and industrial concerns at the same time, leading to the concentration of economic power in the few hands. production under capitalism is not undertaken merely to satisfy the basic needs of the masses of people. The productive resources are utilized for the production of luxuries for the rich, which have a higher profit margin than for producing goods required for mass consumption. Due to the inequalities of income and wealth, the demand depends upon the purchasing power of the people, and the rich people are able to exert greater pull in the product market. Under capitalism, the motive of self-interest rather than the motive of social welfare prevails. The producers try to maximize profits at the cost of workers and society. They produce those goods which give maximum profits, but these goods may be harmful for the society or may not be necessary. The consumer may thus become a victim of exploitation in the hands of producers, as his choices and preferences are influenced by manipulative trade practices. Socialism is an economic system where means of production are owned and managed by the whole community. The state owns all capital and wealth, controls and manages the entire productive activities, and social welfare is the motivating factor behind all productive activities. According to H.D. Dickinson, socialism is an economic organization in which material means of production are owned by the whole community and operated by the representatives of the people who are responsible to the community according to a general plan. Karl Marx, who wrote in 1867 his famous book Das Kapital, the Bible of Socialism, is considered to be the father of scientific socialism. Soviet Russia was the first country in the world to establish a communist economy based on Marxian principles. Later on, other countries like China, Vietnam, Poland, Cuba, Germany, etc. had adopted this system. Under socialism, all the means of production such as land, factories, banks, trade, etc. are owned by the state. But it is not essential that every single productive resource must be owned by the state. It may be sufficient if the major and key means of production are in the hands of the government. In some countries, private property on a very small scale exists. The motivating factor of economic activities under socialism is social welfare and not private profit. The work which is performed by market mechanism under capitalism is performed by central economic authority under capitalism. The Planning Commission keeps social welfare uppermost in consideration. The state provides medical aid, education facilities, etc. for the benefit of a common man. Socialist economy is basically a planned economy. The allocation of productive resources is done according to the direction of central authority. The Planning Commission formulates 5-year plans for economic development which are implemented through various governmental agencies. Planning takes place of market mechanism in a socialist economy. Under socialism, industrial and business enterprises belong to the state. Thus, there is little possibility of owning wealth by private individuals. Perfect economic equality is not the aim of socialism, but there are to be no glaring inequalities. Socialism aims at giving a fair share to all in the national income, along with providing equal opportunities of employment to all. It recognizes that some income differences are essential due to differences in skill, talents, and productivity of individuals. Under socialism, government is the only producer and therefore there is no scope of competition among different production units. The spirit of cooperation and mutual goodwill prevails under socialism. Absence of competition results in utilization of the natural resources. The socialists believe in a classless society where the distinction between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots has completely disappeared. In a socialistic state, every individual enjoys equality of opportunity regardless of caste, creed, family or religion. All the people earn their income in the form of labor income. In a socialist economy, the production of various commodities is under the control of government. Government is the only producer and hence all the three central problems, what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce, are solved by the government. The right to take decision about these problems lies with the central planning authority. As compared to capitalism, the productive resources of the country are more economically and optimally allocated among the various productive uses. The central authority determines the allocation of resources among the various productive uses, which is in a better position to assess the basic needs of the people. The consumer's demand and preferences can be estimated from the purchases made by them in the market. Also, there is no wasteful expenditure on advertisement, etc. under socialism. Socialism eliminates trade cycles which cause hardships to the people. The means of production are owned and controlled by the state, and as such the level of investment and the level of aggregate demand can also be effectively determined. This ensures economic stability. Socialist economy is basically a planned economy. Therefore, there will be no overproduction or underproduction leading to economic stability. The socialists believe that people should be given protection against uncertainties relating to income, work and living conditions, and the burden of this provision should be borne by the entire society. Therefore, the government undertakes various social security measures such as compensation for unemployment and accidents, sickness and maternity benefits, old age pension, death grants, etc. The state also provides the basic facilities of housing, education and health to the people. Thus, a socialistic state is truly a welfare state. Under socialism, the inequalities of income are reduced to the minimum and the national income is more equitably and evenly distributed. No one is permitted to earn large unearned incomes, that is, rental and interest incomes. Every individual is given equal opportunity to develop his latent faculties and get necessary training and education. Another important benefit of socialism is that it promotes rapid economic growth through economic planning. A planned socialist economy functions according to the program and in a systematic and orderly manner. The rates of saving and investment can be greatly increased, which are essential for rapid economic growth. In words of Pandit Nehru, it is only through planned approach on socialistic lines that steady progress can be attained. A socialist economy is a classless society and therefore there is no scope for class struggle. The state is the employer who is guided by the social welfare motive. All people earn their income by working for the state and get their income in the form of labor income. The distinction between rich and the poor and the haves and have-nots completely disappears under socialism. Under socialism, the people are made to work according to the dictates of the central authority. They become merely wage earners and their jobs are protected whether they are efficient or inefficient. When a personal gain is eliminated, the stimulus to self-improvement will disappear and there will be no incentive for hard work. Pigou remarked that a government could print a good edition of Shakespeare works, but it could not get them written. A serious charge against socialism is that when freedom of enterprise disappears, even when the freedom of occupation will go, workers will be assigned certain jobs and they cannot change them without the consent of the planning authority. Similarly, the consumers are compelled to accept whatever commodities are produced by the government. There is no freedom of speech or expression in socialist countries. Under socialism, there is no automatic indicator for the optimum allocation of resources among different industries. Under capitalism, there are consumers' preferences which, through price mechanism, bring out an optimum allocation of resources. But under socialism, this is not so. Some goods may be produced in excess and wasted, whereas there may be shortage of others. The task of assigning production for the maximum benefit is too big to be performed by any single authority. Under socialism, the state is not merely a political authority, but it also has unlimited authority in the economic aspects. Thus, all power is concentrated in the hands of the state and it has absolute authority in the country. Hence, there is every possibility that a few politicians and bureaucrats may become dictators in the country. Socialism does not recognize consumers' sovereignty. Production is not guided by the taste and preferences of the consumers. Consumption has to adjust itself to production. The state fixes the price for the goods, which may be arbitrary. A socialist economy produces goods and services of a limited variety, which the central planning authority decides to produce, denying the consumers the choice among various of goods. Bureaucratic running of the economic machinery is the most important criticism of a socialist economy. The civil servant does not feel the same keen self-interest as the employer of a private organization and knows that he will be promoted on the basis of seniority rather than on the basis of extra work and alertness. Therefore, he will be guided merely by rule and precedent and there will be no initiative and resourcefulness. There is routine and red tape and no room for extraordinary people. Files may go on moving from one place to another, from one table to another, leading to delays and wastage of time. In the modern world, where we find mostly are mixed economies. Mixed economy means that it is operated by both private and public enterprises. The concept of mixed economy was propounded by J.M. Keynes during the World Depression of 1930s. At present, we have two types of mixed economies. The first type of mixed economy is that in which the means of production are in the private hands and the government indirectly intervenes in its economic affairs. The government regulates and controls the activities of private enterprises. This type of mixed system is called mixed capitalist system. In such type of economy, the government produces only defense goods and public utility services. This type of mixed economy can be seen in most of the developed countries of the world like UK, USA and Germany, etc. The second type of a mixed economy is that in which the government also directly participates in the production of various goods and services along with regulating and controlling private enterprises. The government may put direct controls such as price control, licensing system, control over imports, etc., or it may use various monetary and fiscal policies. This type of economy exists in most of the developing countries. Indian economy is an example of this type of mixed economy. Mixed economy is said to be a middle way between capitalism and socialism. In mixed economies, both private sector and public sector coexist. The industries of the country are divided into two parts. The one part are the industries, the responsibility for the development of which is entrusted to the state and they are owned and managed by the state. Other industries are left under the authority and control of private entrepreneurs. Generally, the basic and key industries like industries concerned with production of defense equipment, atomic energy, heavy engineering industries, etc. are put under the public sector, and the consumer goods industries like sugar, oil, textiles, etc. are left in the hands of private sector. Thus, public sector dominates those areas of production which require huge investment with low rate of profitability. Economic planning is essential for the economic growth and development of the economy. Both public and private sectors are required to bring about balanced growth of the economy. Planning can take the form of various incentives and disincentives through various monetary, fiscal, trade and other policies. In a mixed economy, the government regulates the controls the private sector so that it may function in the interest of the whole economy rather than exclusively for the interest of private entrepreneurs. For this purpose, it introduces licensing system, various monetary and fiscal policies, anti-monopoly controls, etc. Basic objective of a mixed economy is promotion of social welfare. The government makes conscious efforts to promote the welfare of the people through various social security schemes to help the poor and backward classes. The government protects the interest of the workers by formulating various labor laws, factory acts, fixing the working hours and minimum wages. It also provides education, health facilities, etc. In a mixed economy, price mechanism plays a dominant role, but not as dominant as under capitalism. Price mechanism functions subject to certain regulations through price controls, fixation of minimum wages, etc. For example, price of essential commodities such as petroleum prices, gas prices, etc. are fixed by the government. In a mixed economy, the roles of public and private sectors are clearly defined, but in the event of some necessity, these roles can be changed. Categorization of industries in public and private sector does not mean that they cannot be interchanged. If need be, industries assigned to public sector can be assigned to private sector and vice versa. For the operation of private sector, there is complete economic freedom. This motivates people to work hard and produce more, thereby increasing the overall economic welfare. Mixed economy promotes balanced growth in the economy. The government sets up industries in those regions where the private enterprise fails. Similarly, it establishes those industries which the private sector will not establish due to their being capital intensive, or where the gestation period is very long, or where the profitability rate is low. But the setting up of these industries is important for the overall development of the economy. In a mixed economy, the existence of public sector does not allow inequalities in the distribution of income and wealth to grow beyond a limit. Even the working of the private sector is regulated by the government. The government may adopt measures like progressive taxation, levy of debt duties, etc. to reduce unequal distribution of income and wealth. Mixed economy promotes healthy competition between public and private sectors, as a result of which people work hard and produce more. The producers try to find out new techniques of production to reduce costs, and the resources are efficiently and optimally allocated among various uses. In a mixed economy, due to healthy competition between the public and private sectors, the resources are used more efficiently. This results in increasing the rate of economic growth in the country. It is particularly important for less developed countries where economic development is to be initiated. Public ownership of means of production ensures that economic growth is achieved along with social justice. The greatest virtue of capitalism, that is, economic freedom, also exists in a mixed economy. This motivates people to work hard and produce more. Consumers are also free to choose the goods and services they want to consume. People are free to choose their occupations. In a mixed economy, planning of the resources for the different uses is done. This ensures that the resources are utilized in the best possible manner. The planning authority divides the resources appropriately among the public and private sectors, keeping in mind the overall interest of the economy. Under mixed economy, the role of public and private sector is well defined, but the government can change its decision according to the needs of the country. Categorization of industries in public and private sectors does not mean that they have been placed in watertight compartments. If need arises, the government can change certain industries from private sector to public or vice versa. This also ensures a balanced growth of the economy. Profit motive is not the only objective for undertaking economic activities. Through public sector is guided predominantly by social welfare motive, and the private sector is guided by profit motive only. But private sector cannot maximize profit at the cost of social interest. In case of clash of interest, the social interest is to be considered for the welfare of the nation. It is because of this consideration that generally public utility services and basic and key industries are kept under the public sector. In capitalism, coordination is brought by price mechanism, and in socialism, it is brought by the central planning authority. But in a mixed economy, there is a lack of coordination due to the collision and non-cooperation between the private and public sectors. In such a situation, a mixed economy may not be able to function properly. Mixed economy is short-lived because after some time it converges either towards a capitalist economy or towards a socialist economy. Sometimes it is also possible that in future some private undertakings are nationalized. Because of this fear of nationalization, the private sector may not take much interest in producing more and improving the technology. In a mixed economy, both sectors suffer due to lack of efficiency. In the public sector, it is so because civil servants may not perform their duties with responsibility. And in the private sector, efficiency decreases because the government imposes too many restrictions in the form of controls, permits, license, etc. Under mixed economy, the private sector industries are not controlled effectively. As a result of this, they are affected by short-run demand and supply factors which result in fluctuations in the prices of goods and services. The government may impose excessive controls, licensing system, monetary and fiscal controls, etc., which may become inconvenient. In a mixed economy, the public sector has a record of poor performance due to inefficiency, red tapeism, etc. Experience of Indian economy bears testimony to this fact. Mixed economy in India has not been able to promote fast economic growth, nor has it been able to remove the large economic and regional inequalities of income and wealth.